A hash function is an algorithm that maps data of any length to a fixed length. So we have a bunch of inputs of different lengths here. They're all different strings, and we have outputs of the same length. So what a hash function does is that it's going to take different inputs of different lengths, but output data in a fixed length. So we have a few strings. We have string that's a string that's a message, and a string that's a long message. All of these are different lengths. When this is input into a hash function, it's going to output data of the same length. Now this output is known as a hash value or a hash. So we're representing input with x, output is y, and if we look at the formula, f of x equals y. If we put the input as message, we're going to get this output as we see here. Now let's go over the properties of a hash function. The first is that it should be easy to compute, meaning given input x, the hash function f of x should be easy to compute, meaning with an input x, the output should be easy to compute. So for an example, if x is the string message, when we put that string into the hash function, the output should be easy to compute. The next property is that it's one way, meaning when we're given an output y, it should be very hard to find x. What that is if we have y equals this output, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to find the input that's going to give this output. And the last property is broken down to two parts, and that's being collision free or collision resistance. So the first part is that it's very hard to find two inputs, x1 and x2, where the outputs will equal the same. That means it's very hard to find two inputs, x1 and x2, that's going to provide the exact same output when they're put in a hash function. And the next part is given an input x1 and its output f of x1, it's very hard to find out two outputs that are the same when the inputs aren't the same. So I'll repeat that. If we have an input and the output, it'll be very hard to find a similar hash of these two outputs when the two inputs are not the same. For example, if x1 is a string message and we know the output of that is this right here, it's going to be very difficult to find two duplicate outputs when the inputs are not the same. If you found this content valuable, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Feel free to leave your comments below for future topics. As a fellow student of Bitcoin, I wish you all the best with your learnings and hope to see you soon.